Hey guys, what's up, everybody? Dwayne Bryant here from wagertalk.com. And it's Thursday, and you know what that means. It is football trend report day, Thursday, September 21st. I have dozen, a dozen football trends for this weekend's games, seven in college football, five in the NFL, one of them on tonight's NFL game. And these trends are a combined 98 and 0. And we are going to get right into that dozen right now. And guys, as always, I start by saying, please do not ever make a bet based on any single trend, angle, or piece of information. If you are watching this video and you are using these trends, they should only be used when you're weighing out all of the relevant trends for a game and seeing if they all weigh more heavily to one side or the other. Let's move to trend number one. We are going to start with college football, and we are looking at Rutgers going back to 2021. And again, with the players changing so often in college football, I really don't like to go back more than 3 years. Really, I like the trends that only go back to last season. Those are my favorite ones. So I'm not worried about sample size. I'm just worried about recency and winning margin. But I will go back to 2020 on some of these, but that's as far back as I will go. And some of these trends, if I went back even further, the record would be even more impressive and undefeated, but it's just not relevant because those players are no longer around. So again, Rutgers since 2021 on the road, when they're coming off a game where they had one or fewer turnovers. So previous turnovers less than or equal to one. We'll hit the SDQL button. You'll see that the over-under is 0-7, no overs, 7 unders. And what I really like is that these games went under by an average of over 15 points per game. And this is active on Saturday with Rutgers at Michigan. Let's head into trend number two. And for trend number two, we're going to look at Ohio State. And again, you don't type out the whole name. You have to look at the abbreviations. And after this trend, I'll show you how I do that. So we're looking at Ohio State. We're only going back to last season, which is how I prefer it. When they're coming off a game where their winning margin, where they won by 21 or more points, we'll hit the SDQL button. And sometimes this database is going to think a little bit, and maybe it's a lot of people running queries during the morning hours. So sometimes this thing gets bogged down and you just got to wait. Normally, it doesn't happen this early in my videos, though. We're only on trend number 2 of 12. So usually it's at the end or near the end when this happens. So I hope this doesn't happen too often on this video, or it's going to take forever to get through. But here you can see that the over-under is 8-0, 8 overs, no unders. These games went over by an average of exactly 13 points per game. Love that. Love the fact that if you look on the right-hand side here in the overtime column, none of these games went overtime, so there's no overtime periods that are going to pad that margin there. Love that. Also, since Ohio State is only -3 against Notre Dame, it should be worth noting that Ohio State is also 8-0 straight up in these games, winning by basically 5 touchdowns a game on average. And this is active on Saturday, Ohio State at Notre Dame. Now, again, you have to learn, and you can see on the screen here, all these different team name abbreviations: Notre Dame, Western Kentucky, Maryland, Penn State, Iowa, et cetera, et cetera. How I always do that is, if I'm not sure about one, I'll go team and season equals 2023. And if you run that query just like that, it's going to give you a list of all the teams. Now, if you click on the word query, it will alphabetize the team name. So you can go down the list and you should be able to figure out which abbreviations are for which teams. So, Appalachian, Arkansas, Army, Arizona, Auburn, Arizona State, Ball State, Baylor, et cetera, et cetera. That's because I sure as heck don't have all of these abbreviations memorized. As you can see, some of them are only 3 letters, some are 5 letters, some are 4 letters. So you can't even, try to figure it out based on the number of letters because they're all different. So some of these I actually have to look up every now and then as well. So let's move to trend number 3. And guys, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out and you're notified immediately when I drop a video on this channel. Now we're going to look at Louisiana Lafayette going back to the 2021 season when they scored 37 or more points in their previous game. So previous points greater than or equal to 37. And we'll hit the SDQL button. And you'll see that Lafayette, despite an average line, an average line of about -10, they are 0-8 against the spread. And they lost to the spread by more than 13 points per game on average. And this is active on Saturday. Louisiana Lafayette hosting Buffalo. Next, we're going to look at a coach. We're going to look at Ryan Day. We're going to go back to November 16th of 2019. Now, this is probably the only time I'll go back more than 3 years, is if it's a coach, and especially if he's coaching the same program that whole time. So we're looking at Ryan Day going back to November 16th of 2019 when he is off back-to-back home wins. So previous was a home win. Previous, which is 2 games ago, was also a home win. We'll hit the SDQL button. You'll see that they over-under is 8-0, 8 overs, no unders. These games went over by a little more than 11 points per game on average. And again, you can see on the right-hand column, there's no overtime games to pad this margin. This is active today, or on Saturday, I should say, Ohio State at Notre Dame. So we had an Ohio State over trend earlier, and now we have a Ryan Day over trend here. So a couple of good trends there favoring the over on the Ohio State Notre Dame game. Now, what I would do, again, you want to weigh out all relevant trends for a game. So I would be looking at the Notre Dame side and see if they also have over trends pointing for this that qualify for this game, or if their trends are pointing to the under, because that would certainly negate what we've already looked at, which is why I tell you to never base a bet based on any single trend. Before we get to the next trend, guys, just please hit that thumbs up to like this video. I would greatly appreciate that. For our next trend, we are going to look at, this is Ohio U, going back to the 2021 season. When they face an opponent's win percentage is between 25 and 40%. And we'll hit the SDQL button. And you can see that that's not bad either. 6-2 ATS. The margin isn't certainly anything to get excited about. But what I really want to look at here is the over-under. No overs, 8 unders. These games stayed under by basically 10 points per game. And they stayed under by 10 points per game, despite the fact that there was one overtime game in this system here. You take away the overtime period, that is probably that's going to cross the 10-point margin threshold. And you can see that it is active on Saturday, excuse me, Ohio U at Bowling Green. Now it lists other, October 7th game against Kent State, October 14th against Northern Illinois. Those games, those teams might fall within that win percentage threshold now, but till those games come around, depending how they do in their, till then, those teams might fall outside of this win percentage parameter, and then these games would no longer qualify. So don't write those games down now, because till they come around, they may not qualify. Moving on to trend number 6 here in college football, and we're going to go back and we're going to look at another coach. We're going to look at Danny Gonzalez when he is facing a team with a losing record. So opponent's win percentage is less than 50, and the total for the game is greater than 38. And we'll hit the SDQL button, and you can see that Gonzalez's New Mexico team, and you can see he was coaching at New Mexico for every game in this query. 1-9 straight up, 0-9-1 against the spread, lost to the spread by basically 2 touchdowns a game on average. And this is active Saturday, New Mexico at Massachusetts. And that brings me to my final college football trend of this video. And for this one, again, we're going to look at another coach. We're going to look at Greg Schiano. We're going to go back to October 2nd of 2021, when Schiano's team is a dog, D for dog or underdog, and he's facing an opponent with a winning record. Opponent's winning percentage is greater than 50. We'll hit the SDQL button, and you'll see that Schiano's teams are 0-11 straight up, losing by more than 33 points per game on average. 0-10-1 against the spread, losing to the spread by more than 16.5 points per game on average. And you can see that this is a qualifying play on Saturday, Rutgers at Michigan. That's going to do it for the college football portion of this video. So now I have to go to the NFL database. So I'll just click NFL up here, and then click on NFL SDQL query. And that brings me to the main page for NFL queries. And we will get right into those. Guys, if you have any trends that you found that are active for this weekend's games, drop them in the comments. If there's any you want me to look up for this weekend's games, drop those questions in the comments as well, and I will get to them when I can. NFL trend number 1. We're going to look at the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to go back to last season, when they're coming off a game where they had 175 or more rushing yards per game. We'll hit the SDQL button, and you'll see that the over-under is 0-7. No overs, 7 unders. These games stayed under by more than 11.5 points per game on average. Very nice under margin there. And you can see that this is active on Sunday, the Ravens hosting the Colts. So let's go to trend number 2 in the NFL. For this one, we're going to look at the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, you have to write out 49ers. You can't use the numbers 4 and 9. For some reason, they made it more difficult. Date, and we're going to go back to November 28th of 2021. We're going to look at the Niners at home when they're off back-to-back wins. So previous game was a win, and their previous or 2 games back was also a win. Now, those are straight up wins. Those are not against the spread wins, and against the spread win would be capital ATSW. So we'll hit the SDQL button. You'll see that the Niners are a perfect 8-0 straight up and 8-0 against the spread. Average favorite of basically a touchdown a game, won by an average of 16.5 points per game. So they covered the spread by more than 9.5 points per game. Not a bad over-under trend either. 6-2 is 75%. I'm not real thrilled with the margin, though, of only basically a field goal. It's a little tighter than I like. I like these trends to have at least a touchdown winning margin on average. But you can see that this trend is active tonight as I'm recording this on Thursday morning. So if you're watching this video on Thursday early enough, this trend is active as the Niners host the Giants tonight. Now, I can say, and I didn't look too much into this, but I did see that Mark Lawrence is also very well known for his trend work, and he has a lot of trends that actually support either fade the Niners or support the Giants. So I would be careful, especially with this one. I would definitely do more homework on this game. So before I get to the last few trends on this video, I just want to let you guys know about the specials I got going on right now over at dbbets.com. You can get $100 off on my 30-day all access package. And you can also get $1,000 off my 1-year all access pass. The 30-day pass would cover NFL, college football, and MLB for the next 30 days. The 1-year all access will cover NFL, college football, MLB, NBA, and college basketball for the next 365 days. Basically, go to my page at dbbets.com, and actually special deal number 3 is right here on the top of the page on the right-hand side under Wager Talk Specials. You can get 30 days of my NFL and college football together for only $1.99. It works out to about $3.31 per day per sport. If you're interested in the coupon deals that I just mentioned, what you want to do is scroll further down the page and stay on the right-hand side. And under long-term and seasonal passes, you'll see that right below that, it says All Sports Pass. You just click on the drop-down box directly below All Sports Pass, and then choose either the 30-day pass or the 1-year pass. And then when you get to the checkout page, you use the coupon codes, either DB30 or DB365, and that will give you the discount on those packages. Great deals, limited time. Check them out right now at dbbets.com. So, our next trend, we are going to look at the Tennessee Titans going back to the 21 season when they're coming off a win, and that win was by 6 or fewer points. The previous margin less than or equal to 6. We'll hit the SDQL button. Not a bad ATS trend. 6-2 straight up, 6-2 ATS, covering the spread by basically 9 points a game. But really what I want to look at here is the over-under. No overs, 8 unders. These games stayed under by exactly an 11 points per game average. And this is active on Sunday. The Titans at the Browns. Moving right into the second to last trend of the day. We're going to look at the Buffalo Bills, and we're going to go back to last season when they are an away favorite, and the total is greater than or equal to 41. We'll hit the SDQL button, and another over-under here. No overs, 8 unders. These games stayed under by nearly 9 points per game, and that's despite 6 points being scored in overtime against the Jets in week 1 this season. And here we are. It qualifies again as the Bills are visiting the Washington Commanders. And it sure seems like this is also going to qualify in week 7 when they visit the Patriots, barring any kind of major Bills injuries. They should be the favorite in that game in week 7. And that brings us to the final trend of this football trend report for this weekend. And for this one, we're going to look at the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to go back to 2021. We're going to look at them. Game number is less than 9. So it's within their first 8 games, or basically first half of their season, when they're at home. Now we'll hit the SDQL button. And you can see that the Chiefs are 0-9 against the spread at home in the first 8 games of the season, going back to 2021. They actually, despite being an average favorite of about -6, they actually lost by an average of -1 2/3 points. They were only 5-4 straight up in Arrowhead. Lost to the spread by an average of 7.5 points per game. And you can see that this is active on Sunday. The Chiefs hosting the Chicago Bears. Now, this will also be active in week 6 when they host the Broncos and in week 7 when they host the Chargers. So keep those games in mind moving forward. And in fact, when we get to those weeks, I might have this trend in those videos as well. But that is going to do it for our NFL Trend Report video for the upcoming weekend. Again, if you have any trends that you found that are active this weekend's football action, drop them in the comments. If you have any you want me to look up, drop those in the comments. I will get to those as well. Don't forget about those special deals I've got going on right now at dbbets.com. And as always, guys, best of luck on all of your wagers this weekend.